Save 8% off your order at TruTechTools.com by using the Shop Talk discount code. Hello, everybody, and welcome back to HVAC Shop Talk Live. I feel like I brought together long-lost friends in the chat. You know, we got Homer here, is about to be on the air. Susie's in the chat. I picture like a meadow and them running together, and that's just what I pictured. That's how I roll with that. Welcome back to the show, guys. It's Saturday night. All of you had nothing to do. Shameful. Shameful. Need to get out and do something. COVID's over. Go out and enjoy yourselves, people. So let's look down at the chat here. We have Hughesman HVAC, Josh Hogan, Thomas, Susie, Will, our guest Homer, back to Susie, back to Homer, Susie, Old Handy Luke, Adam Heischi, I think that's how that's pronounced, Dro HVAC, and who else do we have here? Clint Glasgow, a new channel member. Thank you, Clint. Appreciate that. That's awesome. And we're going to have some fun tonight. We also have some skilled trade up coming on a little bit later. We're going to talk to Homer Blackburn, which is a local boy. So probably the closest proximity. I don't know. It's going to be pretty close between him and Stephen Raridan. You know, Stephen Raridan was up there in Raleigh, and then Homer's over there in the Crystal Coast. So it's about the same distance. So it's probably the closest besides Stephen, we'll say. So it's kind of cool to have somebody that could potentially, because I am working on building an office, actually come to the house and do it. Because if we come to the house and do it, then we can have hamburgers and stuff, and it becomes an event. It's not just a live stream. It's a whole experience. It'll be a lot of fun. I think we'd have a good time. So we have Skill Trade Up tonight, and I'll show you the prizes for that. For those of you who don't know, Skill Trade Up is our trivia game show where you have to come on the air with me, answer questions, and you could potentially win great prizes. I'm going to show you those great prizes. Here it is. First great prize. We have some Knipex pliers. These are Knipex Cobras. These are the very little ones. And I think they're called pump pliers. I'm not positive. I'm kind of kicking myself now because I can't remember, but I think these are the pump pliers from Knipex. Really, really nice. They sent 3 different sets of pliers, so we're going to see those popping up in the next few weeks on Skilled Trade Up. Our second prize is going to be, you know what, the hat and the shirt. From Shop Talk, we have a variety of shirts for your wearing pleasure. And third, we have a Vito Pro Pack Tech Series Blackout. This is the MB2 bag. So really, really cool. But Shannon brought up a great issue with this bag. If you're like losing the crawl space, it's a blackout bag. So I guess you're just screwed. You're just never going to find it. It's like camouflage stuff. I mean, in some cases, it doesn't work very well. And we also have a NavVac expanding tool for our fourth prize, complete with the expansion kit, so you can expand copper all the way up to 1 5/8. So that's pretty cool. So if you haven't already, please put a like on this video. It helps us do something. I don't know how YouTube works. I'll be honest with you. I've been on YouTube for 10 years, but I know you got to like a video or YouTube thinks it's awful. So put a like on it. I really appreciate that. If you haven't subscribed, consider subscribing. See, what else can you guys do? You can listen to the podcast. Podcast comes out every week, HVAC Shop Talk. You can find that on Apple. You can find it on Android, Google Play, whatever, or you can listen to it on the web. Usually if you follow our Facebook page, I'll give you links to all 3 of those, so you can follow it wherever you want to follow it. That's up to you. We are on Facebook. I do think Facebook is the cesspool of the world, but if you want to be on Facebook, might as well follow us, I guess. It'll be a lot of fun. So here's what we're going to do tonight. We're going to go ahead and get ahead with this interview, take a little break here real quick, and then Homer's going to join me, and we're going to talk shop here, which is good because this is Shop Talk. We'll be right back. The new Yellow Jacket scale, part number 68864, has a 220-pound capacity, a large platform, and wireless Bluetooth communication via the WideJack app. With a 0.05% accuracy and 0.2 ounce resolution, service technicians can count on precision measurements every time.
Like you're tripping through your scales.
Oh, I hit the wrong button nicely. Homer, how you doing, man?
I'm doing great tonight. How are you doing?
I'm good. I screwed up. I hit the skill trade up button, so all of you are like, oh, it's time to win prizes. You are wrong. It is not. I'm very sorry about that. It happens. It happens quite a bit. So let's just, a lot of guys don't know that we did a show on Man with Issues last year, so which I thought was awesome. That was really, really fun. And
yeah,
I think it's a good icebreaker because I don't know if you can condense that. I know parts of it, you probably have to omit, but how you got to be an HVAC technician, I think is a real interesting story. So can you give us like the really short version of that? I know it's a lot to ask.
Yeah, pretty much. I went to federal prison for a year and a half for doing a stupid thing with the Coast Guard. If you Google my name, Homer Blackburn, it'll pull first thing up and you'll get the whole story. Spent a year and a half there, and I started doing heating and air while I was in there. I joined heating and air department and the welding department. They were kind of the same shop, and really started to come alive in heating and air. We really worked on mainly like chillers, big swamp coolers. We did have a few heat pumps and stuff there, and a lot of radiant heat stuff, radiators. It was a good experience, but when I got out of prison, I went to a halfway house in Wilmington and ended up getting a job in Havelock with Trent and Sea Air Heating and Cooling, and it got me started doing this.
Is that where you still work?
Yeah, I sure do.
That's nice. Now, how long has it been?
I think I'm coming up on 6 years now.
Man, look at that. Look at that. Now, how was it? Remind me, because I think you said during that original podcast, how did you get that job? Because you just gotten out of prison, so some people were like, nah, you stay away from me. So how did you get that job?
I went up there and interviewed with him and talked to him. And he said he'd give me a call back, but, they never called me back. And I ended up running into him at a church and talked to him again there. And he even told me himself, he's like, man, there's no way this dude's ever going to be able to do heating and air. There's no way I should hire him, And then he finally gave me a shot after I saw him at church. But I mean, he saw me. I'm 6'6", 6'7", 300 pounds, and he's like, "You're not being able to fit anywhere. You're not going to be able to do anything." I climb around attics like a monkey, and I'll crawl under crawl spaces, and it's usually my shoulders being too wide that keeps me from getting in the spots. But I'll slither through there, man. I'll make my way.
Dude, I sent you the picture earlier of I'm building a little office out there, and I have all these joists that I was doing, and it's like 14 and a half in between the joists because it's 16 on center, and I was like, I don't think I'm going to be able to sit in between these joists while I install them, and I was correct. I could not sit in between the two joists, and so I know how you feel, because we actually had a dude. Speaking of, size and HVAC, we had a dude that worked for us years ago when I worked with my dad. It was like 15 years ago. And he was so small, he could fit through a cinder block opening, like 8x16. He could go through it. So, I mean, good luck with that.
We've had a couple of guys like that, and it's really nice when you got some guys that size, because especially the older houses that we renovate in like downtown New Bern and downtown Beaufort, we've had houses from the 1700s that have never had heating and air before, just old fireplaces. Oh, yeah. And that's a big thing for the mini split industry too, because you don't have anywhere to run ductwork, right? So we can, either run it through a chase or, line hide down the side of a house. And, that's a big thing. We just did one in Oriental, Arapahoe Oriental. I don't know if you know where that's at. I believe the house was built in the late 1600s, 1680s. and it's right on the water. And we put in a Daikin with 2 wall mounted. One was I think 1 ton, and the other was 1.5 tons, and then a ducted 1 ton, 1.5 ton up in the attic. And then we did the new Daikin 1 thermostats too, which is our wireless thermostats, and they're like
Pretty
that
big.
long. They're big, and they got a dial you got to turn, and it has a little bit of a lag to it. Daikin, y'all need to fix that. But
Yeah, no kidding. Hey, a dial that went out of style like 25,
yeah,
30 years ago, right?
yeah. It's got a dial on it, but it's weird because it has the dial and it has touchscreen. So, and it works either way. You can either use the dial or the touchscreen, and it confuses people. So
Yeah, they need to do away with that. I've never seen one of these before, but yeah, that's got to go. That seems horrible.
yeah, I got a
Yeah.
video on TikTok of the thermostat, and actually when you put it in cooling, a LED light comes on the bottom and glows blue towards the ground. When you put it in heating, it lights up orange and glows towards the ground. It's kind of cool.
I like
know.
that. It's like a
Yeah,
lowrider.
yeah, they're pretty nice, but literally you have to enter the model and serial number of the unit you're trying to control, like a head unit on the wall. Instead of using a remote, you wire it in. It has a like a transformer you wire in, and then it has a receiver. It sends it out, and you wire it in. But you have to enter the model and serial order of that unit. Download stuff off the internet. You have to have internet connection, and then it updates software. And I actually had to get on the phone with the people, the representatives from Daikin 1, and they had to go back in and redo some software just to get them to work. That's how new they were when we installed them. And it's pretty neat.
Well, but you like these things, right? That's what you're
I
saying. You
love
like
them.
mini splits. Now, what do you
I
like about it? It's
love.
just get you out of the crawl space, but I'm guessing there's more to it than
That's
just
exact.
that.
I'm either working on them on a wall, or they're floor mounts, or they're cassettes, and they're always accessible because that's the whole point of them.
Yeah.
Everybody hates taking them apart and trying to get to the flares and stuff, but if you just take your time and be patient, man, those things are wonderful.
So you would have these, like, if you were to build a house like
Yeah.
tomorrow, would it be one of those Daikin like multi-head systems or something?
No, but I'll tell you, like at my house, I have a central package unit, a Goodman 2-ton package unit, and in the dead of summer, I have a hard time keeping it under 76 degrees. So I actually installed a 9K, which is a 3/4 ton Daikin 19 seer in the living room kitchen area,
Mhm.
and it's kind of like a supplementary AC. And I did it also to run on my generator. So when the power goes out, we get hurricanes down here all the time. The mini split is pulling like 4 amps when it's running. I mean, what is it, like 900 watts, somewhere around there?
Yeah, that's not
So that's
much.
a lot less than 3,500 watts with a package unit's pulling. But I installed it, put it in the living room, and if I keep my bedroom doors open, it actually keeps the whole house nice and cool and dehumidifies great. I love
Well,
it.
I like that. I like that. In the office, there's going to be a mini split, so for sure. So probably
Well,
just whatever the smallest one is, like 7K or whatever it is. I don't know what the
yeah,
smallest one they make is, but because it's going to be well insulated, because it has to be quiet in there, obviously, because what we're doing here is what I'll be doing out there. So
yeah,
I'll be putting in a mini split. It's been a long time since I've done one. I mean, they were pretty easy to do, and I could do them by myself. And it
yeah.
was, a few hours and you're done. I always worried about them like busting, or like 5 years later, like the parts in that one would be different. Like every few years, it would be like a whole new series, and like the other ones would be obsolete. That's what I always worried about with those things.
That's why I like Daikin. They've pretty much stuck with the same parts and everything since like 2012, I think. That's the earliest models I've worked on. I got sent one that was from 2016 the other day from the factory to install. Um, and we just redid the warranty on it and everything. So it would come up as a 2020, but it's the same unit. As long as it's a 19 SEER model, you're going to end up with the same thing as long as it's a 12K or 18 or a 9K, um, unitary unit. But they're just
Well,
wonderful, man. I preach them.
I put in I can't remember what size. It was a small one. I put in a Daikin unit. It was like 20. It was either 23 or 26 SEER. It was like insane. I remember opening up. It's like, this has got to be a misprint, but I think it was like, I think it was 23. Like a
Was it
23.
did it have the gray rounded face on it, and it separates and then it moves the louver out, like the front comes off and kind of moves up?
I no, it wasn't that serious, because this was actually, it's probably before that. I don't know what series you're talking about, but this was back, I don't know, like 7 or 8 years ago at least. It was a while back,
I
but
think
it was
they're
a
called
beast.
the Aurora. I think that I might be wrong. Someone might correct me in the comments. Aurora, I think, is the top of the line Daikin. I think they're 22 or 23 SEER. I wish we could get one of my guys from Daikin on there. That'd be kind of nice.
Yeah, we drag some
But
Daikin people in there. When you bring in like corporate guys, they have to read off of a sheet what they can and can't say. It gets kind of stiff sometimes as far as the conversationally.
Yeah.
Here we can
Well,
trash or praise whatever we want. It's nice.
the biggest problem I have with them is a lot of those houses, like in downtown Beaufort and stuff, they'll have 3 heads, one in each bedroom and one in the living room, and they're great. But what happens is, if you have 3 heads on one outdoor condenser and that board goes bad, you got to wait a week for that board to come in. You have all 3 of them down. So I personally would rather put 3 separate systems in, and it actually works out to be a little bit cheaper than doing the multi-head on one outdoor unit.
No kidding.
And then you can actually control the room differently. Say you got a mother-in-law living with you, and she likes it 80 degrees in her room, and you want it 68. You're not going to get that much of a difference, with just 2 different zones. And I just think it's a better deal just to put them in that way.
Do you have a mother-in-law living with you or something? Because
No,
I do.
but I do have a mother that used to live with me, and she liked it like 80 degrees.
Well, that's the same thing we got here. My mother-in-law, she's not here right now. She's having a sleepover at her sister's house. That's what I tell her. She likes it about 100 degrees because we have it set on like 72 at my house. I like it nice and cool.
That's a good temperature.
Well, she thinks she's about to die. She's had like 5 blankets on her and stuff like that. Says, how low is the AC? It's like, it's not 50. You look like you're 50, but it's not. But, it's kind of nice. I can move out there to the office and make it 68. She's taking my room. That's who's coming in here. She's going to get her own room because she's bunking with my daughter. That's how much room we have. We were talking about being packed in places,
Yeah, I have the same situation at my house. I need to build an addition. I got a 2-bedroom house in downtown Moorhead, and I want to build an addition on the back. And I would definitely put a mini split in. But going back to your question about only putting mini splits in, that's why I wouldn't just go with the mini splits. I'd love to have something for backup, and especially after Florence. If any of you guys went through Florence and you went without power for 2 weeks and you know what it's like, you want something that can run off a generator and not kill a bunch of power. And, having a mini split for a backup is better than having a window unit,
Oh, I agree with you. In fact, when you said that, I was thinking, whenever we do have a hurricane, because, let's tell people, you're right on the water where you're at.
Right on the water.
You said you look at the bridge from your house when you go out.
I pull out of my driveway and I am on exactly lined up with the Atlantic Beach Bridge. So I would literally cross the railroad tracks, and there's 2 streets, and there's the sound right there. And then I got the water behind me. I got Calico Creek running behind me.
So that's a nice spot right there. That's really nice. I like the way that sounds.
Yeah, Moorhead's like a peninsula. So we got the intercoastal running up our backside, and then we got the Pamlico Sound, I think it is, on our other side. So we're right there at the port, so a lot of stuff comes in. A lot of military stuff comes in and out of the port there too. So, but then we also get a lot of hurricanes also.
Well, that's what I was going to say, because where you guys are at, and people who aren't from North Carolina kind of sticks out and catches hurricanes in the face all the time, basically. We're like the nose of the United States, And where he's at is a little bit north and east of me. So when hurricanes make landfall, you don't want to be on like the northeast side. It always sucks to be on the northeast side. And that's where you're at a lot of time, especially when you're making landfall. Was that me talking? Hey, that was me from the past. That's cool.
Yeah, actually, so Carteret County is that nice tip that sticks out. So we actually face the south. If you're standing on our beach, we're not facing east, we're facing south. And, the Gulf Stream comes right up our coast, and we take, we're just like getting hit in the nose. We're first thing get hit by the hurricane. So ever since Florence, we've also had an uptick in generator sales, and we install train generators. They got a new water-cooled generator that come out. It's like a 4-cylinder car motor with a water-cooled, setup. And we also do Briggs & Stratton. I really like the Briggs & Stratton. They're air-cooled, and they're half the price. The train, even though they're water-cooled, I thought they'd be really, really quiet. They're tremendously loud, and they're as big as a Volkswagen Beetle.
What kilowatt is the generator?
Like, say 22 kilowatt.
It's a lot. The whole house.
I got a 5600 Caterpillar at my house, and I can run my central heating and air, all my lights, my internet, my TV, and pretty much everything except for the hot water heater. But the hot water heater keeps for like 8 hours, with hot water. So I could
Yeah,
turn off the
right.
central heating and air and turn on the hot water heater and get some warm water again.
That's a good idea. That's sort of what I did during the last hurricane, which was, I guess Florence was the 2018 or 19 or whatever it was. I got a 5500 or 5600, one of those two, and
Hmm.
that's what we did. I had a little window AC that I ran because our 3-ton Goodman heat pump was too much for it.
Yeah.
With all the stuff that we wanted to try to play, so we had a TV on and stuff like that. Had a little window AC, and it wasn't too bad. After about a week though of being out of power, we left and went to Raleigh,
Yeah.
so we had enough of it.
It's miserable. We also didn't have cable for like a month. And I actually, funny story, like we didn't have cable. I finally got power back on. So I took my work phone and I was like, hey, let me use the hotspot for a little bit and check the news and stuff. Well, I used it a couple of times, and then once the internet and TV came back on, I forgot about it, and it had stayed logged in for like a month straight, and I got a $2,500 bill and another $1,500 bill from the phone company for my work phone that I had to pay off. It sucked, man.
Whoa.
Yeah, all over a hotspot. So I definitely
Oh,
make sure I don't leave that on.
well, I'm surprised. I was looking for a hot spot. Whenever we were moving back into this place when it was being built, we stayed in a house that didn't have any internet for a couple weeks. So I bought a hotspot, but they had like real strict limits on it. There wasn't an unlimited one I could find. I was trying to find one,
Yeah,
but it didn't happen. So I ended up exhausting it just because the kids are in school and they were doing virtual school because of coronavirus or whatever. So it was a real pain in the butt. That's neither here
yeah.
nor there, though, I guess.
You pretty much have to have internet now just to survive. It seems like,
Yeah, can
you
you
know.
imagine? Actually, no, truthfully, I could go outside and just do tools all day. And if
Yeah,
I never had the internet, if I were able to make a living just wandering in my yard, like building stuff and ripping it down and building it again, that's what I'd do for the rest of my life. I'd never come on the air again.
it'd be awesome. I could definitely get along with that.
Yeah, that's the funny thing is, it's absolutely true. That's exactly what I do.
Yeah, yeah.
But that's what you were telling me beforehand. That you like being outdoors, but you like it on the water. I mean, you're at the beach. Like, what do you like doing? We're gonna get
Like,
to know Homer now, everybody. Here
so
we go.
I grew up down by Sportsman's Pier on Atlantic Beach on Money Island Drive on Dobbs Street, which, if anyone on here knows Carteret County, that was literally the center of attention back in the late 90s, early 2000s. It was Sportsman's Pier. They had a restaurant. It was the biggest pier on the East Coast. It was 1,165 foot long. I still remember that. It was my first job. I used to go out there and take the trash off the pier, and I get a fishing pass for the day. They take your hat and they clip it on the back, and that's how I got to go fishing and stuff like that. And I loved fishing. And then I ended up getting a job in the kitchen and working there for a long time. But they tore all that down, and they tore the circle down. If you ever remember the circle with the slingshot and the Ferris wheel and the go karts and stuff. So
Oh
everything's
man,
gone, and now they're building all these condos. But the good thing is we're still putting all the heat and air in the condos, most of them. And
that, that sounds like a nice spot. It sounds like Santa Monica or something like that with all the like the amusement park there on the water
yeah,
almost.
yeah.
That's
So I mean,
nice. And they tore
I
it down.
I was in the water every day after school. I didn't care if the water was 50 degrees. I was out there. I was surfing, I was fishing, I was doing anything I could. I was poor. We didn't have I had to save for a while to get a fishing pole, or someone would give me an old one. I never had any boats or anything until I was older, and I still only have a little 14-foot skiff. But maybe one day I'll have me a big old boat.
I think. Well, I don't know. I came from the same sort of roots. We were pretty poor. We lived in Wilmington, but we would go to Wrightsville Beach all the time. We go stay whenever family came down. Everybody would share and get like a cottage for the week. We go down to
Hmm.
like Carolina Beach, and we're talking about going more and more south from you, but Carolina Beach and Holden Beach and stuff like that. I have great memories of being out there, and just when you arrive and you can just smell the salt. It just triggers all these memories and stuff. So it's always nice when someone has like an issue at the beach, which I don't have to go to much anymore as far as service calls. But it was always nice going down to the beach. It was like I don't know, like it's a vacation almost instead of
Well,
a service call.
the beach sells heating and air equipment for us.
Yeah, no kidding. Yeah.
I swear. So like all those big condos on the beach with the rooftop units, like summer winds and stuff, uh, 3 to 5 years is the time limit on those units, the heat pumps. So
Yeah.
we're replacing them all the time. And after Florence, I actually went up on top of a few of those buildings, and they were all knocked down, and some of them were still running, laying on the side with the fan running. You know, it
That's
it
pretty
was
cool.
pretty rough, yeah. But yeah, I mean, anything on the water, it's like peace for me. I was really into kayaking, sea kayaking, and I would paddle out into the shipping channel with my buddy Ed. He works with me, and man, we would paddle out to Cape Lookout, with Harker's Island, all around Racewell Carson Reserve. As long as I'm in the water or near the water, I'm happy. You know,
Yeah, man.
it's a good
I like
day.
that. I'm scared of kayaking. I feel like I'm gonna flip over and drown or something.
Well,
I don't get into
so
kayaking.
like my kayak actually had a skirt that held me into the kayak, and it had a rip cord. So if you did not pull that rip cord, you're stuck upside down. So you need to learn to roll. So I learned to like roll over on one side and push back up, but I never got the whole roll upside down and roll over. But Ed, he's on my YouTube channel. There's video of him completely rolling. He'll stay under the water for like 30 seconds. He says he's like fixing his hair, and then he comes up and he's got his hair all swooped over perfect.
Oh my god.
This dude's 60 years old and is in the best shape, man. And he kayaks if he could, every day. But Susie knows who Ed is. Should tell you about him.
Well, she told me to say during the live stream that you are her favorite because I texted her and made sure she knew that you were coming on tonight, and she did. So,
Am I her favorite person or service technician?
I'm gonna go with human being
Or favorite Homer?
Favorite Homer. Well, you got Homer Simpson though. I mean, I don't know if you're counting fictitious Homers or not. I like Homer Simpson too, but be close, man. It's tough.
Yeah.
But I think it's favorite person, and she is saying Ed's hair was always perfect, is what she says in the chat.
Yeah.
So perfect hair, Ed. I would never do that crap. You never see me rolling in one of them things and staying out there for 30 seconds. If I'm underneath for 30 seconds, it's because I'm about to die and I don't know what I'm doing. That's what it'll be.
Yeah, I tried, and I got to the point where I could, if I couldn't roll back up, I could pull the ripcord and climb out of my kayak, and then we'd flip it back over. And it's a real process getting back in a kayak when you're in the middle of the shipping channel with 4-foot swell hitting you.
Nope.
So we're wearing life jackets and stuff, and I had like a stainless steel dive knife on my life jacket, so if I got tangled up, I could cut myself free, and carbon fiber paddles and all that stuff. But I got tired of paddling everywhere. I want to be on a boat. So I sold my kayak and got that little skiff. And I'm on my third motor. I keep buying motors, fixing them up, rebuilding the carbs, maybe even rings, getting the compression right and getting it on there. And I had a 5, a 15, and now I got a 25 Suzuki 2-stroke, 3-cylinder, and just put a new prop on it. And it's actually starting to move along, where I can actually fight the current and get somewhere. So I'm kind of happy with that.
So what are you doing in your boat? You going fishing, or what's the idea?
I like fishing in the fall. That's my time to go fishing. And, in the summertime, I like to go, say, to Shackleford or Carrot Island or any of the islands, and I really like to go over there and just hang out for the day, explore, find driftwood, stuff like that, dig around with your feet, find sand dollars or clams, or, if you've ever been sand dollar hunting with your feet, you dig your feet in the sand and pick up the sand dollars, and you can put them in the sun and bleach them. And I don't know, man, I don't care. As long as I'm in that boat and I'm cruising around, I could stay here all day.
So that's like when people say when they get off work, this is what I do to relax. So that's what you do to relax, is what you're saying.
Yeah, but I don't do it after work because it's so much work. It's so much work to get out there.
Yeah, it's right. It's a process, I'm sure. We used to. I had a buddy that worked with me years ago, and every Friday, or even sometimes during the week, when work was over, we'd take off and we'd drive straight to Topsail Beach, which I guess is, you probably heard of Topsail Beach, I'm guessing, because it ain't too awful far. It's other side of Jacksonville. It's our side of Jacksonville.
Isn't that near Surf City?
Yeah, same island. There's Surf City and Topsail Beach on the same island. And we'd go up there and we'd go swimming until we felt like the sharks were coming out, and then we'd leave. And we drive all. It's like 45 minutes to get there. If we spend an hour or two there, maybe go by, because Max's Pizza was like a famous eatery on Topsail Beach. So it was worth doing, and it was only a couple hours, so it's a lot of fun down there. Well, I don't get to go much anymore.
I don't think it was last summer, but I think it was maybe the summer before. We were out in the inlet coming in from around Atlantic Beach around Fort Macon, and we got in, and then I saw on the news this girl had been attacked by a shark, and her dad was like a firefighter or EMS right there on Atlantic Beach. and I think she lost like some of her fingers and one of her legs, and the dude came in there and was like punching the shark. We were in the water when that happened, and there's been a lot more shark sightings up and down the East Coast. When I was younger, you'd see sharks every now and then, but I'd never heard of anybody getting attacked in Atlantic Beach. The girl was from Havelock, actually. It was all over the news. I think she actually got like a prosthetic leg and stuff.
On the news, I see a lot now, like the shark stuff. And I'm like you, I never remember it happening a long time ago, whether it was or not. But the news like really runs with it. I think every time now they hear about one.
Yeah.
I guess that's what it is. I'm guessing it's the news. It's not like there's more sharks, but I don't know.
Well, they're saying the water's getting warmer closer to land, like the Gulf Stream's moving in closer, so the sharks are coming in a little bit closer. And there is some like famous aerial footage of a helicopter flying across Shackleford through the inlet, and there was like the school. I don't know if they were black tips or hammerhead or something, but like thousands and thousands of sharks swimming through the intercoastal right through the inlet and stuff. And they had it was pretty neat. It'd be cool if I could pull it up and show it to you, but
through technology, we probably could have figured that out.
Yeah,
I can search for helicopter shark picture. I bet I could find it too.
Eastern North Carolina shark picture from a helicopter. You could probably pull it up.
Watch this. Let's see if I can find this real quick. I bet here. The screen's going to go white for just a second. I'm going to do a little search here. Not your screen, but the viewer screen.
That's what we would do at nighttime is we would shark fish. We would take like a big old pin 6, 8, or 9/0. I mean, not 8, like 4, 6, or 9/0. And we would make our leaders out of aircraft cable and pinch them off with like lead pinchers and stuff and put stainless steel hooks on them and get bait from the Captain Stacy cooler full of Captain Stacy guts and stuff and make chum and start fishing off the pier at night. And we caught a lot of sharks out there, but it was fun, man.
What would you search for exactly? I want to find
aerial
this picture.
View of sharks in eastern North Carolina.
Let's see what happens. It's a long way from HVAC, but we're going to figure this out.
It was pretty cool, man, because it was like you could see the helicopter blades like shadow on the water, and then it's just like thousands of sharks swimming around the cape and stuff like that.
Man, look at this. This ain't... No. This is well... Nope. This is not it.
And actually, this big old great white actually has been spotted out here recently. I was at a guy's house fixing his ice maker, commercial split ice maker, setting it up for him, getting everything running, replacing TXV and power head and filter dryer. And he was going to be on that fishing show about the tunas. They were doing like North versus South. You remember seeing that on Discovery Channel?
North versus South is the name of the show?
It was on Discovery Channel. It was a fishing show, like big tuna, something like that. It wasn't Deadliest Catch. Anyways, they were going to do like the North versus South, and they were staying down to Hatteras, and they came down to Morehead City. Well, one of the guys that was going to be on the show, he declined being on it. He got footage of like a 24-foot great white feeding off of a whale, I think just a few miles off our coast. I believe the footage is on YouTube. Yeah, it was 24 foot. The marine biologist, like, he videotaped it. They measured it by the length of his boat because the fish swam under his boat, and that was right off our coast.
Dude, my work van was 17 foot long.
Yeah.
I don't know about that. I don't know. I want to see that shark.
The estimated 24 foot was incredible, man.
Jaws.
What was the name of that show?
It was Jaws.
Yeah, it's like just like Jaws, man. And I believe the marine biologist told him that was the biggest great white ever caught on film.
I hope so.
So he's a charter fisherman. So he runs a charter boat and takes people out, and that's when he saw the whale out there, the dead whale being fed on. It was pretty cool, man.
Yeah, that's kind of neat. I wouldn't want to be anywhere near it in the water, but I mean that's kind of cool.
Yeah.
So you said you're fixing an ice maker. So do you do like you said it was commercial? Do you do like commercial stuff too, or is it just residential?
So this guy actually got a commercial ice maker because he does his charter business, so he needs a lot of ice every day. It was like a 900-pound ice maker, 900-pound chest, and it had a split, so it wasn't just the condenser and everything on top with the compressor. It was actually had a line set and stuff. but yeah, I dibble and dabble on ice makers, and I, I actually like doing more of the refrigeration part too. Walk-in coolers. We do like the Papa John's. I do the walk-in coolers at Papa John's and stuff like that. We've got their contract, and
Why do you like that better than like
I
just
just like different
residential?
things. I just like learning something different. I try to learn
Yeah.
something every day. I don't like just. I mean, I'd love to go take a train heat pump apart and put it back together every day. I mean, I can, we can do them with their eyes closed now, but when I come across something new that I hadn't done before, it gets your juices going. You know what I mean?
Yeah, yeah. Okay, all right. Then what's like the strangest thing that you've ever worked on?
Strangest thing I've ever worked
Strangest
on.
thing, maybe a cooler for a weird application or process, or I don't know. I
Probably
think that's
like
because I think
probably
about
like
the tugboat one, but
I've worked on one on a boat. Like it was a big boat. The guy had a cooler, and it was a refrigerator and the AC system on the boat, and it was a little 134A compressor, like a little round compressor
hmm
with a little evaporator coil and a condensing coil, and it's set up underneath like this hatch. I fixed the AC on his yacht and his little cooler, and I've done like wine cellar units, stuff like
right.
that. Um, Ice makers, nothing like in a morgue or anything like that yet.
That'd
That'd
be
be kind of
wild.
cool. I mean, I'd be willing to do it, man.
Yeah.
Anything I haven't touched before, man. I'll go in there and I'm diving in.
Yeah, I always like that too. Like if my brother would call me and say, "I'm going out to the service call, and it's going to be in this spot doing this weird thing. You want to go?" I'd be like, "Yeah, I want to go." First, two reasons: it's his service call, so I get to tag along, and I have no responsibility, and then I get to try to fix it myself, and then take all the
Yeah,
glory of it. So it'd be great.
yeah. I mean, I like geothermals. They're kind of cool, stuff like that. But nothing like really, really big. I do a lot of. We do this like school in New Bern where we do all the maintenances there, but there's nothing any new or exciting to work on. I tell you, I don't like working on Mitsubishi, but that's just my preference.
We can talk about that in just a second. I just want to say, Will Justice, our commenter down there, says weirdest thing he's done is morgue coolers for bodies. So he's
That's
done it.
pretty cool.
Yeah,
So I guess you got to make sure that thing's going. Do they have any backups? Like,
I hope so.
you know,
I hope so. I don't know how well, not to get too disgusting or nothing, but I don't know how well embalming works when it's 85 degrees inside where you're
yeah,
storing things. I don't know.
that would be bad. I guess you could get a refrigerated truck, like a reefer truck, and
Oh my
put them in
gosh,
there.
yeah. Oh, that makes me think about them COVID stories now. That's kind of depressing. Yeah, let's talk about
Yeah,
Mitsubishi, how bad they are.
yeah.
So what's so bad about why don't you like working on Mitsubishi? Are we talking like
I just
just
don't
like
like
regular
work.
mini splits, little mini
Yeah,
splits, one to
I
ones
don't.
and stuff?
They're just way more difficult to access anything on them. The way the head plastics pull off, you can pull the top part off, but then there's still this bottom strip that's in the way, and you have to shove a flathead in there in this weird angle and push down to get it to pop up. But then you still have the plastic in your way, and like the electrical compartment's real small. Like a Daikin, you pull the whole cover off, and you can access everything underneath the drain line. You push two tabs, pull the whole thing off the wall. There's one little tab on the side. You can get to the blower control board. You can get to the blower motor. You can take two screws out of the left side of the coil and lift the whole coil out and pull the whole blower wheel out and clean it.
Oh, that's nice.
But a Mitsubishi, like I've never been able to get a blower wheel out of a Mitsubishi. I've tried so many times because I do a lot of mini split cleanings. I got like the bib kit you hang underneath them
Mm-hmm.
because the wheels like cake up with black mildew, stuff
Yeah,
like
yeah.
that. But they're just so much more difficult to work on. They're reliable units, but I can't stand them. I try not to install them. Stick with
Well,
Daikin.
I mean, as far as Mitsubishi, not Mitsubishi, but mini split reliability, I always put Daikin pretty close to them, though, right?
Yeah, yeah, they're very reliable. Usually,
Yeah.
the biggest problem is install error. That's usually the biggest problem I have, and or electrical surges. That I mean, I very rarely ever come across like a dead compressor or anything like that, like a burn up board from a power surge, and the customer's been having power surges forever, and they've replaced the the inverter, the drive, stuff like that,
Well, that
the
reminds me,
motors and stuff.
we do have photos with us too, so I can put
Yeah,
up
so
some
like
of this
that's a
stuff.
Samsung. I think I actually replaced that one. That was at a school in New Bern. It's a private school, but we've been replacing the Samsungs with Mitsubishis. But these are set up to have cassettes in each classroom, so a four-way cassette. Now I kind of like the Mitsubishi 4-way cassette because it's got this little camera on it that follows you around the room and kind of either can divert the air away from you or it can divert it towards you, to kind of keep you comfortable. Commercial side, Mitsubishi's not bad, but residential side, I don't really like messing with them in residential.
Yeah. Well, these are some nice Samsungs right here. We put in some Samsungs back in the day. What were the... Okay, let's ask this. What's like the number one issue that you run into that's not installer error? Let's say the number one failure.
Well, I was going to say flares, but that's installer error.
Well, I guess let's just include everything then. Go ahead and say it. So flares being not
flares
torqued properly.
Number one. Flares is number one. And then power surge problems. The outdoor boards going bad. EEVs sticking or going bad. And then temperature sensors. That's basically it. I have yet to have to replace a compressor in a unitary mini split,
That's impressive because you've done a lot of them, I'm guessing.
So. Yeah, a lot. I mean, I've pulled tons of them apart and replaced boards and stuff in them, but I rarely have to work on any of the Daikins. It's usually Fujitsu, Samsung, LG, Quiet Side. They're all pretty much the same in Mitsubishi that I used to have to replace parts in, but Daikin, they're pretty strong. They're good units, man. They have this issue where any higher than 253 volts, they'll cut out to protect themselves. And in some parts of our area, we have, a little bit higher power surges. And I have had that problem with some units, and you might have to put, some sort of voltage regulator or a surge protector on them. But like the one I installed at my house in my living room, I put a surge protector on it as soon as I installed it, just to be safe, what's $200 to save that?
You would say probably that you should do it on all of them, right?
Yeah. Any mini splits I install, I definitely recommend to the customer to put a surge protector on them.
And you guys do, I'm guessing you said train stuff as well.
Yeah, we sure do.
So what about their don't they have their own mini split brand?
It's just Mitsubishi.
Oh, that's right. That's right.
That's
right. Yeah.
But just regular heat pumps. I love Train. Now we've had some issues with them recently and in the past. The coils are leaking really bad in like the TM4s, the TM4 cabinets.
Yeah, the metal
TM6 cabinets. They won't leak right when you install it, but right at a year down the road, the solder joints will just blow out. And you'll have a leak. And I mean, I just had one Friday. I found.
These are all aluminum coils, right?
All aluminum coils in Train. Yep. Now that's the only downside I've really been seeing a Train lately, and it was their TXVs, really, really sensitive to like any kind of debris. But every time I would take a TXV out and look at the screen, I never saw any debris in them. So I think they were kind of covering their ass. But I mean, tons of indoor and outdoor TXVs on a Train.
That used to be an issue back in the day that I'd see a whole lot on Train, because usually whenever I see an issue, it wasn't an install because I wasn't installing much equipment. It would just be whatever was happening later. And on Train in America Standard back in the day, it would be like all these TXVs were going bad all the time. But this was like, I don't remember. How old are you, Homer, if you don't mind?
34.
So 34. This would have been when you were 18 or 19, I guess. They had a bad run of TXVs for like 2005, 6, 7 in those years. So they were all bolt-on, though. So that was really easy.
Oh, well, that's nice when they're bolt on.
That was a pleasure to do. Yeah, pump down, bolt, take it off, bolt a new one on. Vacuum.
Yeah, the evaporator coil definitely has the bolt-on TXVs, but the outdoor TXVs going bad and heating can also be kind of a pain in the butt to replace. And you can actually, there's a check valve in the indoor TXV that can make the outdoor TXV look like it's bad in heating. So it'll run fine in cooling. You switch it over into heat, and all of a sudden your outdoor TXV will be freezing up. You'll go replace the outdoor TXV, and the same thing happens. So the only way to know is your temperature drop across that coil. So if you're discharging in heat at 100 degrees and it's returning to your outdoor unit 40 degrees or more below that, you've definitely got a restriction in that TXV or the coil. I mean, you can pull, the blower and let the coil run and see if it frosts up all the way across, or if it doesn't, you've definitely got a restriction. But there's this check valve in the indoor TXVs I've seen where it causes an issue in heating. and makes it look like the outdoor TXV, but you can only tell by temperature difference.
That's a good tip. Yeah, whenever you go out to the outdoor unit, you see it coming back at like 60 degrees. Like, okay, we got a problem upstairs.
I made a couple of videos on TikTok about diagnosing those and troubleshooting them. I had one I came across and I was like, yeah, this is a perfect scenario for me to show this, because I've had so many guys go out and replace the outdoor TXV and it was the indoor TXV, the check valve.
Yeah, I could see how that would happen. Yeah, if you don't take those temperatures, you wouldn't be able to tell the difference.
Yeah,
it'd be kind of difficult. It's already difficult to do some TXV stuff sometimes, and you also got reversing valves and those things too, which are a pain in the butt.
Yeah.
So since we were talking about mini splits, and I was asking you about train, like, do you put in like the high end multi-stage train stuff too, which kind of is similar to some of the mini split technology as far as how many steps they have and capacity?
Are you talking about like the Hyperion cabinets and stuff and the TAM9s?
Like TAM9s with, and was it XVs? XV like 18, XV20, like heat pumps and ACs.
Yeah, we'd install them. Not as common, but I've had customers that bought like 3 of them and installed all 3 at the same house and built a new stand and everything and redesigned the ductwork and all that. But it seems like they come in batches. Like we'll have all of a sudden 3 of them get sold and then we won't sell any for 6 months. And they're all right. The problem I have with them is you got to go into the CDA and to the configure menu and all that, and to set everything up or to troubleshoot or to pull codes. I have a trouble remembering how to do all that when I get out to one, because I haven't worked on one in say 8 months, because they're so rare and there's so many different fault codes you can get for like an outdoor drive going bad. I'll be on the phone with Jamie from tech support from Train and DNL, and we'll be looking at the fault codes and we'll be like, all right, looks like it's the drive. I'll send you a drive. And then we'll start looking at the fault codes again. Well, maybe it's the compressor. And then all of a sudden you find out it's actually the indoor fan that was throwing all these extra codes.
That's wild.
It was indoor blower motor and it was a static pressure issue. And then I've seen other issues where the heat strips weren't programmed right in there and it was causing it to ramp up way too high and causing it to cut out. It's weird things like that with those, but they're pretty cool and they're quiet. I like them. I wouldn't install one at my house, but
you would do mini splits, right? You would do mini splits.
I would do,
because you already did, really.
I would do Train 14 SEER equipment. I actually, my favorite combination would be a Carrier air handler with a Train outdoor unit, not zoned or anything, and that would be my main system. And then I'd have mini splits for backup, because
why the Carrier though? Why you like?
Because I've never had problems with Carriers indoor units. I only have problems with Carriers rusting out. The outdoor units rusting out.
I bet. I bet where you're at. Yeah, they're pooping out compressors out the bottom.
Yeah, I mean, I rarely ever have to replace any Carrier blower motors or evaporator cools or TXVs. It's mainly like a piston outside and heating, or they sell that coastal version and they were literally dropping like flies over here on the beach because they sold so many of them. And you might have a coil left because of the epoxy coating.
Yeah.
But everything else is gone. Like the fan will actually drop down and bust a hole in the coil. I've seen that. I had the customer, the fan fell in and luckily it turned off and it hit the compressor. I went back out there with some S-Lock and drive and made a bracket so the fan could sit on top of the coil until I could get the new fan bracket in. And it was like a 4-year-old coastal version from Carrier.
Right,
I mean,
wow.
They all got their ups and downs.
I really love to see this. Maybe I have to just drive down to this place just to see it. About an hour and a half south of me, I installed a coastal unit. I think it was ICP coastal unit. And I would love to see, because I think it's going to be 7 years old this year. I've got to go check that out and see if it's still standing. Because I did 2 Goodmans down the street based on a guy who worked at East Coast Metal, and they sell Goodman here.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm pretty sure those are probably laying in a big pile of metal. But I had to check that one out. And there was this house. It's actually in Wrightsville Beach. They had 4 Goodmans in a row. Oh, yeah, we did this house like a long time ago. There's 4 Goodman condensers in a row down a stand. These stands like 10 foot up in the air, like I'm sure you're used to.
Oh, yeah.
Let's get above the, whatever it is, a freeboard for like, Mother Nature's worst storm.
Yeah.
So there's 4 heat pumps in a row. The first one, actually, let's go to the back. The back one is about half rusted out. The next one up is 3/4 rusted out. The next
Yep.
one up is like the panels laying on the ground because it rusted and fell off. And then the last one, it's like there's nothing left. It's just like half a coil. You can see the compressor like through the big chunks and holes in the coil. It's just the beach is so good.
You'll see them like this place called Sea Spray on Atlantic Beach. They put the units underneath the building, and they're right on the beach, so they get all that salt spray underneath the building, but they don't get any rainwater. And you'll go under there, and it's like a graveyard. You'll just see compressors and coils and all kinds of stuff. And you'll look, and you'll see just copper tubes running around the unit.
And
the fan's still spinning and cooling. And I'm like, I'll be back next year to change you out.
Yeah, your head pressure is high.
Oh
high.
God.
I saw the same thing, man. It was like a unit with just the copper coils were left, and the fan was running. I was about to change it out. And I was like, man, I should have tested the head pressure on it because I'm sure it was like, this is R22. It's probably like 400 PSI at least.
Man, I try to, like, anytime I'm doing maintenances for customer PMs or something like that, I try to pressure and press them going outside and rinsing off their condenser with the water hose. Like, I put it in their head, hey, this is what you need to do. You need to suck out your drain every once in a while with the shop vac, and you need to go out there and rinse this unit off. And I just keep it, especially on the beach. And if they do, man, they can get twice as much time out of them. Just go out there and rinse it off.
Oh,
it's not that hard.
Yeah. And I don't know, the first row, they're kind of screwed on the beach. I mean, it's like your days are numbered. As soon as it goes up there, I say, I'll see you in, like you said, 3 to 5 years. That's pretty accurate. 3 to 5 years. I hope you didn't buy anything too fancy. Sometimes we see them with like the train units, the higher end ones with the plastic top on them. So like, why'd you buy that thing, man? Why'd you buy that?
I think they should make like an acrylic, not acrylic, but you know how the Hyperion cabinet is? Mm-hmm. That, I don't know what even that is, like fiberglass, acrylic, some sort of model like that with all stainless steel bolts and screws and stuff, to go to the beach, but still the coil and compressor and everything would rust out. So we actually we on all our installs now, we move the filter dryer inside because the filter dryer is the first thing to bubble up and rust away, and then you got a leak.
Yeah. At the beach. Yeah. That's the time when I say, move it inside at the beach. It will get, but it's like the accumulators. They always start leaking on the bottom or on the, like around the top where the paint stops. It's like they start rotting out and everything. Man, this is good times at the beach. So you see a unit only 5 years later, you'd be changing it out again. It's like, man, this is easy money.
We just finished, it was like 4 years of these condos being built over there where Jungle Land used to be at. It's called Seaside Villas. And we put all carrier equipment in. And we literally were getting done with one building and starting the next one. And you could look over at the other building and the cages on the outside of the carriers, the cheaper models, the 14 series, how they just put little wire mesh chicken wire. It looks like chicken wire.
Right on.
And they're literally rusting away before the people can even buy the house. I swear, we had to go. We went back over there and pulled a bunch of the grates off so they could sell the places because people were walking around. They're like, "Why is this unit all rusted out?"
Yeah, that's pretty funny. It doesn't take very long. I mean, the house that I was talking about, the ICP coastal unit, the Goodman's down the street. I remember I came back and serviced those things for a few years before I decided I didn't want to drive that far. And like the first year afterwards, every tip of the fins was rusting out already. Every tip was eating away at least a little bit. I remember seeing the units going like, you're going to get changed down another couple years.
Have you seen one of those Maytag stainless steel units before?
Yeah, because they're eyesores.
I saw one at a guard shack one time on Atlantic Beach, and it's still there. I've been waiting to see if it ever gets replaced, but it's been there for at least 6 years, and I don't know what the internals of them look like, but I mean, they came up with a good idea. I don't really like Maytags, but I mean, that's the only unit I've seen that was stainless steel.
That's the brightest unit I've ever seen.
It is.
The sun hits it, he's putting your eye out, man. That thing, I don't know, man. It's like that thing is too bright. It's like you need to blend in with like the bushes or something. I mean, that's crazy. Yeah.
Have
it's
you
like a blue unit.
Have you done anything with those little? It's got almost like an alternator that sits on top of the unit, so when the fan comes on, it gives enough power to open a valve to mist water along the sides of the condenser.
I've never seen. I always thought that was a problem because of all the mineral deposits in the water,
like hard water. If you got hard water,
But I've never done one before. I mean, I've had people that they lose like a condenser fan and they'll set the sprinkler and spray on the unit so they can try to keep running it. Yeah, Oh yeah, that's right. You gotta get them cooling somehow or another. You put like the stupid I forget what they're called. This little yard sprinklers. Just lay it there. It's like, hey, whatever works.
Definitely.
Especially if it's critical. Yeah.
Yeah.
Rigging stuff up and make it last.
Man, you gotta be like a king of making things work in heat and air. You got to be the guy that can make whatever you have on that truck work for your situation, or be able to locate it. You know what I mean? If you're the guy that's always like, oh, I got to order that, it's a week out. I got to order that. I got to order that. I got to order that.
Yeah. No, I'm with you, man. I like making things work. I think it's fun anyway. I mean, just trying to figure out how to make something work or get it by, or at least do it semi as good job as it would do normally while you're either waiting, or sometimes it's permanent based on what people can purchase. Some of the motors are awful expensive and they decide to go back with a cheaper motor or something. Got to make it work.
Yeah. I'd rather have an OEM motor than those, I can't remember the name of them, but those rescue motors that we keep, the 1075 RPM 4-speeds. They're just tacky, and everyone always leaves the wire sticking out the top so they can reverse polarity of them.
Dude, oh man, I wish I would have uploaded the picture. I had, oh man, let me try to find it while we have this conversation. I know I'm going to have to do the screen again here real quick and put the logo up, but we can still talk.
I got bit by one of those. So somebody had done that, and the wires had chafed, and it was on this metal building in Havelock. And I was down there checking pressures. I hooked my gauges up and everything, and I was touching the unit, and my other hand touched the building, and all of a sudden it went across my whole body, a shock. And I found out it was those wires sticking up through the top of the fan that shocked me, and I grounded myself out to the building because my shoes were rubber. But
oh my God, yeah. See, that's what I was saying. Here, this is the one I put up. That's the one I put up online. The anti-super.
That's exactly what I'm talking about.
Yeah, you gotta die.
Well, if you read the side of the motor or the tag that comes with it, it'll tell you what colors go in what direction. So if you know you're counterclockwise from, clockwise, then you can do it and just tape it to the side of the blower instead of putting it in there and then sitting there switching it back and forth.
Oh yeah, man, that's the laziness. Hey man, even if you can't tell, because sometimes I'll be like, okay, this is the way the motor goes. It'll be reversed. I'll be like, what happened? I don't know, something mentally broke down here. But I mean, I just take it back off and switch the things if I put them down in there.
Yeah,
I mean, this right here, you're gonna kill somebody.
Yeah, it looks like an old train. Like what is that? A 10 seer, 12 seer, something like that.
It's a little bit newer than you're thinking, but it's like the exact same top as they would have. Actually, it's I think it's late 2000s, not quite 2010. So I guess it is about that 13 seer maybe. But I'm moving those units.
I actually came across this what is it called? It was a General Electric, and I think it was on Thursday. The guy, the blower motor went out on it, and I was looking at the capacitor, and it was the original capacitor from 1980. This unit was from 1980, General Electric, and it is exact replica of what the train units look like right around the end of the 80s. You know those ones with the
I know exactly what you're talking about.
You know what I'm talking about? And some of their General Electrics had the spine fin coil. So I guess the train took it from General Electric.
Yeah, it was at General Electric first. Yeah, because they took that. I forget how it goes, but those same General Electric units, because I actually work on a handful of those things, little squares, little beast, little energy-sucking beast.
Yeah, they are.
And then the trains took on that form for several years, and then they became what they are today.
You take
they
the
became
top
those
off
heavy gray ones.
And the capacitors are on the edge of the fan
around
housing.
the rim. Yeah.
And they got those old school contactors, but they're still running after 40 years. You know what I mean?
Those contactors are legit. I know exactly what you're talking about. Those things are beast.
Man, I come across those things. I was like, man, I just want to keep this thing running just to do it,
Yeah, that's how I feel about it. I've never had to change a contactor on one of those units ever.
Ever.
When I see them, they're like 25 years old or older.
Yeah,
I've never had to change it.
Yeah, I've never. Yeah, they don't. And like the capacitors, like I said, that capacitor was 40 years old, and it had never been changed before, and it was 10 microfarads, and I put my leads on there, and it said 10.14 microfarads.
Oh yeah, man, those things were built to last. They had these capacitors the size of a fire extinguisher or something.
Yeah.
It got all that room in there to dissipate heat. It's gonna last forever.
It was a 10, and it was like that big, and it was oval.
Yeah. I think that they had more room in there, so I'm guessing that whatever heat's created, it's like a heat sink. The oil, it can dissipate. That's what I'm guessing. And now you got these little tiny Chinese things that I don't know, whatever these little, whatever, dielectrics or whatever they put in there. I forget what it's called.
Someone told me that we used to put mineral oil in the capacitors, and that was good. But now that the Chinese started making them, they put soybean oil in them, and that is the reason that they don't last very long. I don't know if that's a myth or not. That some guy at the DNL train, Raleigh DNL and train to have this thing every year, every fall and stuff like that, where they have the classes and you get certified to work on whatever the latest thing is. And there was a dude that came in and was telling all the stories, and he told us that. But
I thought, I know I've seen castor oil in those. I don't know what it was before. Well, before it was like toxic stuff. That's why they stopped using it, I guess. But I'm guessing the toxic stuff worked better. Yeah, it probably worked a lot better. But now they put in stuff. It's like drinking soy milk. It's like still milk. It's like, no, it's not. Almond milk. How do you get milk out of almonds? I'm skeptical of this right away.
How many almonds do they have to milk to get that?
I don't know who you can even do that. It's not even possible, right?
No.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't drink any almond milk. Of course, I don't drink any real milk either because my son's drinking some lactose-free milk or something because it bothers his stomach. So now whenever I have Fruit Loops in the morning, it's with lactose-free 2% milk, which is like white water.
Yeah, basically. You're right. I'm a Fruity Pebbles man, but I rather have whole milk than that on my Fruity Pebbles.
Whole milk tastes good. I like that. Yeah, Fruity Pebbles, Fruit Loops, Cocoa Puffs, all the food groups.
Oh yeah, that's the best.
Cookie Crisp.
I love Cookie Crisp.
Yeah, man. Yeah, that's funny. It's like I feel like I was a kid again or something like that. I'm having some Cookie Crisp for breakfast, eat 2 Hot Pockets, and I'm good to go, and I won't gain a pound. Now I eat that, I gain 10 pounds.
And then hide the plate under your bed, and then your mom finds it 6 months later.
Yeah, that's right. Or they smell it, whatever I was eating. It's like, what smells in here? I don't know. My socks. Yeah, that seems like a long time ago now. Man.
So are we getting any questions in the I hadn't pulled up the
well, someone said Apple Jacks. I guess they're responding with their favorite cereal. And let's see. Let me see what we have
Susie
here.
says now it's soybean oil.
Soybean oil or just other crunched up capacitors.
Right, film capacitors.
Yeah, Joe said it's all GE engineering, which that sounds right. John McMaster says my house still has a sprinkler on it from 4 years ago. I don't think that's true, John. And someone said poo plants are horrible on the units too. That makes sense.
Yeah, that's true.
Never worked at a poo plant before. R134A Hole says, do you guys prefer the AMRAD capacitors? Man, they seem fine. I mean, most capacitors suck, so I guess AMRAD's okay.
I think the ones that we use say USA on the side of them. I can't even remember the name of them, but they have American flag on them. No, Titans. They're Titans. That's what we use.
What is it? What is Titan? What brand is that?
I don't know.
I should know that. Man, I could see them in the Johnstone in my mind.
Yeah, it's got, I think it has like a little American flag on the side of it, and it says made in America, and then it probably says, but made in China on the bottom of that.
Made in China with American parts.
We put it, they probably make it in China and then send it here, and we put it in the box.
Yeah. You know? We put the box on it so it was finished in America. Yeah. Susie says, Homer, do you remember the old lady with the special daughter who was overly affectionate? Please tell me you remember this. I'm guessing she was coming on to you.
That sounds familiar.
The 4-year-old carrier that was a coastal package unit. She's giving you all these clues here. Does it ring a bell?
4-year-old carrier that was a coastal package unit.
Joe, the brand is called Titan? Okay. All right. I thought a Titan was a version of a different capacitor, but I guess, it's just Titan.
I remember a carrier coastal version that we did, but it was a split system, a compressor we did on a rooftop, but it was for an old lady. Me and Susie did, and I lowered the compressor off the rooftop.
She's saying it was on the roof. She said we changed the compressor on the roof. Maybe you guys are talking about the same unit and just forgetting which type of unit it was. Let's make this story happen. I want to hear what this younger girl did.
I'm trying to remember. She's got to give me some more information.
Maybe something happened and Homer can't talk about it. Susie, have you ever thought of that? Maybe he disappeared in the room for like 20 minutes and he can't talk about it.
You know how you kind of lose the memories when you've been traumatized?
Maybe that's
Maybe
it.
that's it. Yeah.
I was working at William Hooper Apartments. Maybe I shouldn't say the apartment name. Well, it's too late. It's live. William Hooper Apartments in downtown Wilmington. And every time I go to an apartment, I have to knock on the door and wait for people to come to the door. So I knock on this door one time, and this like 80-year-old lady comes to the door in her bra and panties. I'm like, why are you doing this? Obviously, I'm going to go now, and you can go get dressed or whatever. So I go back to the office, and like she was almost naked, and they're just sitting there laughing.
Oh my God.
Trauma.
I've had the old ladies in the nightgown that bend over and don't have anything underneath them, and like trying to pick up their dog and stuff like that. You know.
Yeah, okay, that's a funny situation. You're sitting there like, hey, ma'am.
Just turn around and act like
that. Hey, I'm the type of person I'll be sitting there. I'll be like, "Oh," it's like, "What are you talking about?" It's like nothing. Nothing. I got to look at that thermostat. Let's do it.
Yeah, where's your thermostat at?
Oh, Susie said the daughter was like 60. I kept thinking she was.
I remember now. Yeah, that was the house. They had all the supplies covered up with tape in the attic, and I was like, "Why did they do this?" And she said it was her daughter that was doing it, but I don't remember her daughter like hitting on me or anything. I think that she followed us around a lot and kept talking to me.
Maybe that's it. Maybe she just wanted to tell you stories and have you listen to her.
Yeah,
I get that. I used to get that
odd.
a lot.
I think like her daughter was covering up the supply vents, and we were wondering why they were covered up with like plastic film or something like that. It was weird.
She wanted to see you guys again, I guess. But to kill the compressor? So that ain't good.
Yeah, definitely. It was only like a 2-year-old carrier. Dead compressor shorted ground.
That is not good, man.
Me and Susie had good times. Susie helped me with it's called the Seaside Villas, that place I was talking about, Jungle Lane, where all the carriers were rusting out. She helped me set a bunch of those units out there. We set a bunch of them together.
I should probably ask you, since Susie was on the Man with Issues podcast too, just like you were. She's always in the chats. What was it like working with Susie in general?
She was pretty cool.
Now, if it was really bad, I'm sorry for asking.
No, she wasn't bad at all. She was pretty daggone smart. So she impressed me. And I think that was like my first year. No, that would have been like my third year as a service tech. But she actually took me to the hospital one time. We were working together at a dentist office in Moorhead City. And we were outside doing something. I think we were doing preventative maintenances or something, man. And I started getting real bad chest pains, and like she said, I turned like ghostly white, and I didn't know why I was having chest pains. And she took me to the hospital, and I went in, and they took me back immediately. Like they didn't waste no time at all. I've never been in the ER and gotten back that quick, even when I was in there for burns. But they did the EKGs and everything. Like, your heart's fine, but drink this. And I drank this stuff, and it was called a GI cocktail. So I had something I think it was called angina or something. It was like a spasm in my esophagus
I got you.
From indigestion. So now I got to take Nexium is it Nexium?
It's the one for acid
indigestion.
Reflux.
Yeah. If I don't take that, it's not like acid reflux. I don't get acid reflux. I get like a sharp pain in my chest. It's weird.
But I've heard it because they mistake angina for heart attacks.
Yeah.
I guess is the reason why.
I was up and talking. I was like, "This. I don't think it's a heart attack, but I've never had my chest hurt like this before."
Man, I'm glad it's all it was.
Yeah.
But usually when we're going to the hospital from the job, it's always someone cut themselves. I remember the last time I had to do this. It was years ago. My brother was dropping a roll of hanging strap and decided to try to catch it. He's like, it slipped, and he tried to grab it, and it sliced open his finger. Oh man, there's
metal
blood
hanging
everywhere.
strap.
Yeah.
Oh man, yeah.
Oh,
I usually get cut trying to like slide my arms in and out of stuff, or on the edges of doors, like on the back sides of doors.
Interesting.
Not usually
I
like cut myself with knives and stuff. There's something that I was touching the other day, and I was like, why am I always getting cut on these? It was like when you pull the side panel, the access panel off of a train, and you're trying to slide it back up in there. I'll get like my finger stuck in there and get a cut, stuff like that.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I haven't had any real bad accidents on the job.
That was my next question. What was the worst thing ever besides angina?
For me at work or personally?
Well, personal is a good story. I guess we could do that. I was referring to work, but we could do overall if you've had like a real gruesome personal thing you want to talk
I've
about.
never actually had to leave work for an accident or anything. Like I've cut myself and just I keep super glue in my van and the door in my van, and I just super glue it back together. Um, I've had like some close calls with probably having heat stroke multiple times. You know, you walk out the
Yeah,
attic
that's
and you
tough.
almost collapse and your vision goes out and stuff.
That is
But
bad. That's never
yeah,
happened that severely. Then that's
yeah, like
for me anyway.
when you know when it's getting bad, whenever you'll start to see the sides of your vision coming in and your heartbeat, you can hear the heartbeat in your ears,
Mm-hmm.
and then you try to move and you have like a delayed reaction with your muscles, then you
Well,
got to get out of the attic.
that sounds pretty scary, actually. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah,
That's a
it's real
tough one.
scary. But
Luckily, it's cool here in the summer.
yeah, and I spent like the first 5 hours yesterday in the attic of this farmer's market in Moorhead, man, doing like 9 system ESA. It was so hot, man. But I got smart. I got me this little turbo fan, and I'll carry an extension cord and that thing around everywhere I go in the attic now.
Mm-hmm.
Blew it
I'm
right up
down
the
with
back
that.
of my shirt. Yeah.
Nice. I carry a Ryobi fan with a 18-volt fan. I take it with me if I have to go in the attic. And they just invented or just released something. They have like a clip-on fan. It clips on. It opens up like 2 inches, so it's designed to clip on like a joist, is what I'm assuming. And you could aim it anywhere you want. It's just a little like 6-inch fan, something like that. You could turn it whichever way you want it to go. It was nice.
That is pretty cool. That
Mm-hmm.
would be
I should
pretty
have
neat.
brought a picture of that, man. That thing's great.
Yeah, like one of my coworkers got a DeWalt fan that takes a DeWalt battery. That's pretty cool, but it doesn't have the kick of my squirrel cage fan. Like the squirrel cage fan, you can blow up a bounce house with that thing.
Oh yeah, yeah, yeah.
You know what I'm
I
talking
didn't
about?
realize that's what you were talking about. Yeah, those things will
Yeah, that
definitely put out some
it's
air.
one of those red. It's like it's shaped like a square X, and you can multi-position it in different positions.
Oh yeah,
And that thing
yeah.
is forceful, man. Like I actually use it to blow off like um, the platform in the attic, all the insulation and anything on the platform, and all the stuff from all the
That's a
stuff
good
that
fan.
falls from the roofers and stuff. It's
Oh,
that
here.
powerful. It's like a
I don't
little.
know. Can we see this stuff? That's the new Ryobi fan right there. It clips on.
That's
It's
pretty
tiny.
cool. Man.
Yeah,
Yeah,
it's nice. It doesn't put out anywhere near enough air as far as what you're comparing it to. But you know, if you're in a pinch and you need something to carry up there that's
yeah.
really lightweight, I mean, it's pretty nice.
And then I
So,
do I take those. I think I got one right here. See these blue rags, the work
mm-hmm.
shop rags. I take it and I throw it in my ice. I keep a cooler full of ice, water, and stuff like that. And I leave it in the cooler on the way to a job, especially if it's in the attic, and I pull it out and wring it out, and then I just throw it around my neck like that when I'm in the attic, or I'll put it on my head and put my hat
yeah.
on top of it like that. But
How long do you get?
in the attic until I got to get
Before
out.
you can tell, it's just like the same temperature as the air now. How long do you get for feeling cool?
I'd say a good like 15 minutes,
Yeah.
which is a
And
good
that's
amount of
pretty
time
good.
in the attic, you know.
You can diagnose a problem in 15 minutes. That's pretty good.
Yeah, you can get up there
Yeah.
like this blower's not working, you know. Let
Yeah.
me get back down and get this, and let me jump out the thermostat or whatever.
Yeah,
But
I mean, that works pretty good. I mean, just buying a little bit of time. You know, if it's like 130 in the attic, 15 minutes is about all you could have lasted anyway.
yeah, yeah, that's why I don't like doing maintenances at like from 12 to 3 o'clock. Like if I don't need to be up there to fix the AC, there's no reason I should be up there cleaning coils. You
Yeah,
know what I
right,
mean?
right.
If you're going to do maintenances, do them early in the morning or when it's cool outside, you know?
Yeah. And guess what time you're not going to do a good job? 3 o'clock in the afternoon. Let's
Yeah,
clean this coil. It's
exactly.
going to go real fast.
Yeah, it's going to be real quick.
So fast you won't even see it happening. You know,
I just touch it. Oh, you're clean.
it's more like not dirty enough.
Not dirty enough
See
this
ya.
year. Let's see it.
Yeah.
I'll clean it in the fall.
Yeah, no kidding. Yeah, man, look at us. It's been way over an hour.
Oh, wow.
Oops.
It's almost 10 o'clock.
Man, didn't stick to the time
it flew
schedule.
by.
What a shocker there.
Yeah, it flew by, man.
Well, let's see. Let me see. Is there anything else we're going to talk about? I'm going to put up the picture of the gauges in the unit because it does show like a coastal situation there. You can see the rust on the unit. So
That's
that'd be a good
actually
example.
on top of summer winds right there. And if you look closely at it, I had cut out the liquid line filter dryer that was right there, and I moved it downstairs to where the air handler was in the closet upflow.
Oh, nice.
So I had cut the filter dryer out that was leaking, and I was, pulling a vacuum on it at this time, trying out my new P51s. I like
Yeah.
them, but they're just, I don't like the vacuum gauge setup. I think that the vacuum micron gauge should be built into the gauges instead of
So
having
you like it
external.
in the gauges?
Yeah, I think it should be in the head, like built into the computer of the gauge, instead of having to have a sensor to put on something. Because if you're pulling a vacuum, then you have to use one of those April Air. You see that Schrader valve removal tool? I don't
Mm-hmm.
like putting those things on there because I feel like I'm leaking. I always feel like it takes longer to pull a vacuum with those on there.
Man, everybody loves those things. See,
I
everybody
hate them,
likes
man.
those things. I haven't used the vacuum gauge that comes with that because I have a separate micron gauge that I always use. I don't know why. I just haven't done it. I have vacuum hoses to do the vacuum with. That's probably why I haven't done it.
Do you have that True Blue setup, or is that what they're called?
I have one of them. Yeah.
Do they work pretty good?
Yeah. I mean, I did like an experiment with them. Here, I'll take the picture down. But
That's
there's the
an
rest of the
11.
unit.
That's an 11 CFM vacuum pump right there.
What brand of vacuum
No,
pump
12
is that?
CFM. 12 CFM. Globe Saver or something. My vacuum pump died on a Fujitsu job. I was fixing a Fujitsu, had bad EEV, and I replaced the EEV, and I was there pulling a vacuum, and it died. The capacitor blew up on it, and I tried rigging up another capacitor. It would not start. I even tried spinning it with my hand. I couldn't get it to start. So I used my reclaim machine to pull a vacuum on the system, and it took forever.
That's interesting. Does that actually work though?
It worked.
I've never tried that before.
I got it down to like 800 microns, but I went the next day to United Refrigeration, and I needed a vacuum pump that day. I'm always using my vacuum pump, man. I'm constantly doing repairs, and all they had was a 3 CFM or a 12 CFM Globe Saver, and I was like, I had an 8 CFM Yellow Jacket,
Yeah.
you know, those turbo whatever they were. So I got the 12 CFM, and you got to be careful because if you got contaminants or anything in there, the 12 CFM pulls so fast, you got to sit there and break it with nitrogen a bunch of times. So I just keep a lot of nitrogen with me, and I'll pull the vacuum. If it stops at 1500 microns, I'll break it with nitrogen, 20 pounds of nitrogen, and then I'll pull a vacuum again to get down to 900, break it with nitrogen, and repeat the process. And eventually I'll get down to under 500 microns. So those of you out there pulling vacuums and it stops at 1500, close your gauges, throw some nitrogen in there. It seems counterproductive, but I guarantee you'll get lower than 1500 next time you pull a vacuum.
Yeah, I think some of the like carrier ICP manuals, I'm sure other ones do, they actually recommend that. Triple evacuation, break it with nitrogen, evacuate again. I just can't get over used a reclaim machine. I'm almost want to hook up my machine and see what it does. I want to see what it does.
You got to be like a MacGyver out there, man.
I've never heard of that one though. That's wild. When you said that, I was like, what?
I had that yellow and black setup, and I can't remember the name of it. That reclaim machine. It's yellow and black, tough little thing, good rubber handle. You know which one I'm talking about?
The Appion, the G5.
Yeah, Appion. Yep.
Yeah.
That thing ended up dying on me too. And now I got a different one, but the one I have now,
it died on it because you used it as a vacuum pump.
Probably.
No, that's wild. I'm about to try that. I'm definitely going to try that.
It works. It just takes a while. But this was also a mini split, so do something small, like just do it on a recovery jug. You know, get an empty recovery jug. Let the vacuum out. Try to pull a vacuum on it. See how good you can get.
So we got to get you to get some of them blue hoses.
I need some of the blue hoses, and I need a way to keep refrigerant recovery bottles cool. Because I carry the big recovery bottles, they don't fit in a 5-gallon bucket. You can't put them in a bucket of ice.
Oh, the 50s or whatever.
Yeah. So I take a bunch of those blue rags and I wet them with the water hose and I wrap them around my bottle to keep it cool. Because that's like my biggest slowdown is trying to recover refrigerant. So the accumulator and the compressor start to freeze up halfway down. I take my heat gun out and I take my heat gun down there and start heating it up, and it starts to transfer over.
That works well because we got accumulators on those heat pumps, and it seems like forever it takes to get some of the refrigerant because it's trapped. A lot of it's trapped in oil and stuff. Oh man, yeah, we get it right. Homer, gonna get blue hoses. Maybe we can get a blue hose or something. Maybe the blue hose people will send it out or something if we ask them nicely. Give Homer a blue hose. You're gonna see how fast it goes because you got a 12 CFM pump, right?
Yeah,
so that big hose is the only one capable of getting 12 CFM or close to it, depending on what length it is. All the other hoses will get just a small fraction of that.
It's got 3 hose hookups. It's got a 1/4 inch, a 3/8, and then like a 1/2 inch hose hookup.
It's the True Blue, the blue ones, the True Blue hoses. You can take the ends off and switch them with different ends, so you can get like a 1/2 inch, and then you put the 1/4 inch on the other side for the unit, and Yeah, they sell like a pack. It comes with one hose and one of the core removers that you hook it to take the cores out. It goes really, really, really fast. It's really good.
You trust the core? Do you remove your valve cores every time you pull a vacuum?
I do, but I'll tell you this, because you mentioned that, when there's certain valve core removers that I had which were not capable of doing it. For sure.
Maybe that's my problem, because it seems like every time I try to do something like that, the Schrader valve gets stuck in there, and I end up losing my whole vacuum or something like that. So
which ones are you using?
Apions. I've got one for.
They're pretty good.
I've got one for mini splits because it's a different size. It's a 3/8, not a 1/4 inch.
The pink one.
And then I've got the pink one, yeah. And then I've got the black Apion. It's like it doesn't pinch the Schrader valve enough. Like I tried to adjust it with a pair of needle nose. You know the little rod that slides in and pinches it.
They might have had a problem with some of those.
Slides off, yeah.
I've used Apions and then Navac for a little while. They had issues with core removal and installation. Maybe it's just the series that you got. It's just like a pain in the butt, and now it's like...
Well, the thing is you pay like $50 for them or something like that. They're expensive.
Yeah.
And they got some weight to them.
Hoses and Apion. Apions I like. I like Apions, but they did have a crappy set of them. I know. I remember hearing about that. So that might be what you got.
I've never tried any of the anything Navac yet, but I'm really, they seem like they're up and coming, kind of cool stuff, especially the battery operated vacuum pumps. That's pretty cool.
Oh my gosh, man, that thing's fantastic. I love that thing.
So does it have its own special battery that you charge up, or is it like an interchangeable battery?
It is a special battery. None of their the two vacuum pumps that they have 2 CFM and 4 CFM, and both of those use the same batteries type, but there's like a 9 amp hour battery for the 4 and a 5 amp hour for the 2 CFM. You can use them on either one, but the 4 ain't gonna run too long on that 5 amp hour battery. But there hasn't been a vacuum I've not been able to accomplish using the 4 CFM pump, and it's so cool. It is light. It's like 15 pounds instead of like 25 pounds. It's nice.
So it's good if you're just doing like one startup. You just got to
yeah. Nothing too big. I mean, if you got like a commercial project or something like that, I don't think it's gonna get the job done unless you have a whole bunch of batteries. But you probably want to use like your pump for that, I would think. Yeah. Just get the big hoses. So.
I'd like to be able to actually make an adapter, because I'm all the time going to a house for a startup and there's 3 or 2 systems where I could hook up 2 gauges to the vacuum pump and pull both of them at the same time with separate ball valves with separate micron gauges. So I could, this one's down to 500. Let me release the charge, keep pulling on this one, release the charge. Something similar to that. Yeah. Kind of cool.
A lot of people use multiple pumps, and I've always just used one pump for one thing, but I've seen people doing stuff like that. I've never tried it before, but probably going to work.
Yeah, I like you definitely got to try the reclaim machine.
Oh, I'm definitely doing that. That's wild, because I've got a Navac reclaim machine, and that thing's pretty sweet, because it has like a really oversized condenser in it. So the refrigerant coming out seems to be subcooled, and it's cooler in general. It does a better job of keeping the tank cool. So it's really nice, because I expected to have to run water on the last time I used it, and I didn't have to. So I was like, hey, this is nice. It's really good. I didn't have to turn on the water at all.
Man. I think they make like some kind of jacket you can put on your bottle. But I can't remember where I saw it at. Maybe it's like...
It might be the warming jacket, because I know they make a warming jacket for the refrigerant bottle.
Oh, okay.
But it's not going to be for that. I guess you could use it on recovery if you're putting it back in to the machine. You could use it, but I don't know. It's always been water hose for me. Just run a water hose on top of it, leave it there, and make a mess.
I actually was pulling the.
They shut down the place.
Yeah, I was pulling. What was I doing? Yeah, I lost my conversation.
Wait, someone turned out the lights on you.
I was reclaiming some refrigerant the other day. I was replacing the outdoor TXV, and the bottle, it was taking forever, and I didn't know what was going on. And I looked at the bottle, and I was on the blue side, on the vapor side, and I looked at the blue knob, and it said liquid.
Oh, it was reversed.
Have you seen that? But it was actually blue, but said liquid.
Yeah, I saw your post, and then I went to go look at my recovery cylinders, and both of them were opposite of that. They didn't have that. So I was like, I wonder how many times I've been like wasting time here. But it made me paranoid. I was like, man, I've been like, well, no, mine was normal. So I don't know what that was.
I mean, somebody messed up somewhere, because it didn't even make sense at all. But
yeah, reversed. Yeah, well, since they're turning the lights off at your house, it's probably a good sign that we need to.
I think the light actually might have went out.
Yeah, that's kind of funny. We got to move on anyway because I got to do the skilled trade up, and the audience is it's 10 o'clock. I'm gonna be falling asleep here. That was fun though, man. That just flew by. You might have to come back and do it again. Yeah, that's what I'm talking about. Homer coming back. Get him a blue hose and valve core remover that don't suck, and I bet it'll be all right. So let's get to the thanks for coming on, Homer.
Well, thank you. I enjoyed it.
It was a lot of fun, man. It was fun. We got to troubleshoot some computer issues. Y'all didn't see the fun part where we troubleshoot the computer issues and stuff. That started earlier.
That was at like 5:30, 6 o'clock. So we've actually been talking on the computer for a good 4 hours.
Yeah, that's right. I like it. The beeping computer. We'll have to tell that story next time. The great beeping computer.
That was weird. I still don't know why it's doing that.
No. That's we had to Google it, and no, there was no solution. But yeah, you'll come back again. Had a good time here. I'm going to let you go because I'm going to move on. But I really appreciate it, man.
Thank you for having me on. I really enjoyed it. And y'all have a great night.
Thank you, Homer. Take care, man. All right. That was Buddy Homer there. That was a lot of fun. That's like service tech and service tech. It's very enjoyable because service techs have a language. They speak to each other, and it's perfectly understandable. And that was funny. I'll be getting my reclaim machine on vacuum duty. That was awesome. It took me off guard, but I'm ready to roll with that. Very fun. Homer Blackburn, guys. Local boy. Really good, but now everybody's going like, when are we going to win tools now? The interview's over. Let's win tools. Okay. So we're going to play skill trade up here in just a minute, and I'm going to take the first person that clicks on the link and appears in here after our break. I have a little break coming up here. Let's see, what do we have? We have, I've labeled it Wasps and Trains. So we're going to look at Wasps and Trains and seeing what that's all about. And during that break, I'm going to turn off the chat. All right, you'll see the chat turn off right after I put up the link to join me here to try to play. So once you see the link, click on it. Don't wait so you can play. So we're going to take a quick break. Click on the link, and I'll see you guys when we pop back in here in just a second. If you want to play, win great prizes, click on that link. Looks like we got ourselves a Waspy. We have to be very careful and put my gloves on because we're about to kill his butt. He's going to have to die. All right, guys. Everybody's going to be... Oh. Bad turn of events for you guys. A crushing loss. Well, I just want you guys to know I released those guys back into the wild and they're fine. Alright, no more wasps. That's good. No light on the defrost board, as should be the case. No power to the unit. Should be no power to the house. Of course, we always check that because you never know. There's been people that jumped out services out here in the country before. You want to be really careful. All right, I have the Meturk MK06 here. I think it's just basically like Fluke. I mean, you guys can comment. I think it's basically the same as Fluke. It's facetious. Okay. No volts there. We go here. We'll go down to ground. Of course, the ground is a screw. Let's see where it terminates down here. Alright, so nothing there. And nothing there. Okay. Checking them individually to ground is a must because you never know. Sometimes you get what's L1 and L2 power. Instead of getting L1 and L2, you have a corrupted breaker electrical panel where it'll actually be L1 and L1. So if you check between them, it's 0 volts potential. But if you check to ground, it's 120 still. So you can still get zapped. So just something to be aware of. Where's my hitting screwdriver? I don't know. It's alright. We're going to take these wires off here in just a second. Go ahead and loosen this up. All right, it's nice and loose. Let me undo these wire nuts. Nope, it's expeditious. I made it into the trash container from here, which is about 6 feet away. Oh, 1 for 2, 1 for 3. All right, it went downhill after that. Take this off. Make sure you put that lock nut back on it so you can preserve it if you need to. I guess we'll take the whips off too, probably. We don't have to do that today. Just to make sure we get the expensive stuff off today. Oh my gosh. Trying to get this. Oh yeah, okay. Good grief. All right, we'll do that in a minute. It looks like it's gonna be hard. I like that there's insulation on the whip down here. Look at this. Insulation on the whip. What's that for, I wonder? Just somebody just making sure all the I's were dotted and the T's were crossed. Okay, we are back now. We have a contestant waiting for us right here. And let's see. Who could it be? Perhaps it is none other than our good friend. Pause for effect. Anticipation builds. Oh, wait, that's part of the stage direction. Sorry. Nope, it's our buddy Weaver. Weaver.
Hey, how you doing?
I'm good. How are you?
Oh, I'm doing great.
You ready to win big?
Oh, absolutely. You know I am.
Well, I'll tell you what. We have another person. I gotta say, Weaver crashes and burns. You're in here next. All right. So Weaver, it's upon you. All right. Since you've never played this game before, I'm just kidding. You know exactly what you're doing. So, what you have going on over there?
Over here?
Yeah, I can hear stuff in the background. People are talking. Everybody's having a good time or something, or it's a TV, maybe.
No, I got my TV off. That's the wife and kids in the background.
All right. So, you ready to play this game and, like I said, win real big? And look at this. We got, like, you were very close.
I could hear you, barely.
Are you ready to win? Okay. All right. Well, good thing the words are on the screen, so that makes the game a lot better for you because we're going for the pliers here. We're going for some Knipex Cobra pliers right there. Very nice. So let's go ahead and let's get to our first question right here. Are you ready?
Yes.
All right. Here you go. Which fuel is delivered to the burner or nozzle at the highest pressure? A, fuel oil. B, LP gas. C, natural gas. And for fun, D, wood.
Fuel oil.
Is that your final answer?
Final answer.
Well, I will be daggone. You're exactly right. It is fuel oil. So do you work on fuel oil?
No, but I've watched a lot of Steve Lab's videos.
Oh, that'll work. Yeah, that's what I called when I had to work on it. I think it's like 100 up to 100 and so. If someone chose wood, I was going to tell them to think again, but you didn't have that problem. So you won
if you
yourself.
throw the wood in fast enough, it might create a high PSI.
That's true. We had to measure the PSI when we chuck wood into the burner. That would be good. So you won some pliers. You got these great Knipex pliers, and you could be getting a hat to add to that. Would you want to trade up and play for not only the Knipex pliers, but add a hat and shirt?
Oh, absolutely.
That's what I'm talking about. Exactly right. All right. Even the dog's happy. That's great. So let's appease your dog. Now, the dog can play too. He can be your phone a friend. So since that is the case, we're going to go ahead and get to our next question. Here's your question number 2. What component offsets cold supply temperatures when heat pumps are in defrost? A, heat strips. B, hot water coil. C, gas furnace. D, all are correct.
Temperatures when heat pumps are in defrost would be the heat strips.
The heat strips. So you think it's the heat strips, huh?
Yeah, but cold supply temperatures when heat pumps are in defrost? Heat strips. Oh,
So, wait, hold the phone.
yeah, wait. Heat strips, hot water coil. It could have a hot water coil.
What could it be?
And a gas furnace.
Gas
But
furnace.
why would your gas furnace be running to offset the supply temperature? I guess it could. Never seen that before.
So it could. Well, so far you've said D then. Is D your final answer?
What component offsets cold supply temperatures when heat pumps are in defrost? I'm going to go with the heat strips.
Is heat strips your final answer?
Final answer, heat strips.
Well, unfortunately, it's all of them. They can all do it. All of them do it. You know, there's dual fuel. There's you can offset heat strip or offset the cold air by using any of those methods.
Yeah.
Dave.
That's all right.
It's okay. It's all right, man. You never know. I always feel like I should send you something, but I think you already have everything. You already have stickers.
you
I would
sent
send
me
you
enough.
stickers. Yeah.
I'm fine.
Okay,
I'm
well, you
good,
can play
Jake. You
again.
sent me
You can play.
enough.
That is, in fact, the right answer. It is A. You have won yourself some of these nice Knipex, emphasis on the K, pliers.
Yeah, not Nipex.
Nipex. Not if you say Nipex, you don't get to buy any. I mean,
You're
they
banned.
won't sell them. Yes, you're banned. You're banned from Tool Pros as well if you say Nipex. So, all right. So you want to go for this nice shirt and hat, which you might already own?
Yeah, let's add to the collection.
I like it. Do you have both of those already?
I do.
If you happen to win this, which you might do because you've been successful in the past, what size shirt are you?
Large would suffice.
I think I probably have maybe like a yellow jacket in large then, so maybe I'll send that instead. And
That'll work.
you can diversify.
There we go.
All right, so let's get to that second question. Let me see, find one here. All right, I think I found one. Okay, here we go. Question number 2. Let's see what you think of it. What is the area? This is math. Enjoy, everybody. What is the area? I like that. I'll announce the math is coming. What is the area of a 6-inch round metal duct? A, 12.56, B, 50.24, C, 28.26, or D, 78.5?
I'm going to have to go with C is the closest one I can think of without
So-
using a calculator.
Is that your final answer?
Let's go for it.
You seem very confident. Well, you're absolutely right. It is, in fact, C. You're right. You have won yourself a shirt to be named later and a hat.
Sweet.
You already have the hat, too?
Yes, sir.
Man, can you use an extra hat, or you want me to drag something else out of there?
Surprise me.
Surprise you. All right. I think I can do that. All right. Now, prize number 3 is the crawl space camouflage bag from Vito. Shannon was so right with that. It's like, hey, man, we're going to lose this thing. But it's a cool looking bag. It's really nice.
It is.
It's an MB2. What are you carrying now? Like an equivalent version of this, or what do you carry your tools in?
So I've got the older MB2, not the non-blackout version. My primary carrier right now is the what is it? The MCT with the backpack version.
Oh, okay. Oh, man. Yeah, nice. So could you use this thing at work, too?
Oh yeah, I can always find something to put.
I know, right? That's a stupid question. I think I could probably find some tools. This can be my client's screwdriver bag or something. Or maybe the Knipex can go in there.
There you go. It'll
This thing.
definitely fit.
Yeah, but for the Knipex to go in there, you'll have to, I haven't
Get it
asked
right.
anybody all night. You have to trade up to do this. You want to do that?
Yeah, let's keep it dramatic.
All right. Dramatic is good. There's a sound which you can't hear, but everybody else can. That's great. And let's get to a medium question. Let's go to medium now. And we'll see if you think it's medium. You seem to be a pretty smart guy. They're probably just different easy ones. So let's see. An orphaned water heater may face what specific issue with its venting system? A, condensation. B, low gas pressure. C, low input voltage. D, high inducer static pressure. What do you think?
Well,
What the orphaned water heater? Poor orphaned water heater. His parents left him.
The logical answer would be condensation.
But would it be possible to have an illogical answer?
It would be. The only two I can see would be condensation or high inducer static pressure, but you're not being very specific on the water heater, so.
What would be, yeah.
So I got to go with condensation.
Well, is that your final answer?
Let's shoot for it.
All right, well, that's the right answer. Because olefin water heater would typically have a bigger vent than normal, so the static should be lower, you would think. It should be lower. But would definitely cause condensation issues because you don't have that other appliance in there any longer. So look at you. Bam, you found the, where is it at? Veto bag. I can't find it. It's behind the third pier. Veto bag.
Sweet.
I shouldn't say that because Veto did send this bag off. It was very nice for them to do that. So, and it's a really cool bag, but just be aware of that potential issue. So final thing here, which is probably something you might already own, a NAVAC expander. Do you have an expander?
I do. I've got the Hillmore version.
Oh, I think we've been in this exact same situation, haven't we? I feel like deja vu.
Yeah.
Is this the time in which you said, no, I'm good, I'll stop at the third question? Is that what happened last time?
I think so. I think I didn't want to be greedy last time.
Didn't want to be greedy, but you have an expander already, so you probably wouldn't play for this, I would think. Let's see. What should we do with you? Because you have an expander. You can play for a vacuum pump. An NAVAC vacuum pump. Would you like to do that? 7 CFM vacuum pump. It's the same cost as the expander with the added stuff.
Hey,
how about that?
I'll play to keep the show going smooth and keep that drama up. So you can send whatever you want.
That's good enough for me.
If
All
I
right.
win.
If you win,
You've already
great.
thrown math at me.
Yeah, there's no math left. I don't even remember what question it says. All it says is hard, and I don't remember which one it is because there's only one up here. Actually, there's two.
Circumference of Earth.
Let me, circumference of Earth. We should be able to figure that out. 20,000, it's 20,000 miles, right? I don't know. Actually, I think that's pretty close, actually. I'm going to give you a choice here. I'm not going to tell you too much about the question, but I'm going to tell you one. One is about different gases. And one is about refrigerant, which actually can be a gas too. But one of them is refrigerant specific, and one of them is more heating specific, like that type of gas. Which one would you like to try?
Oh, boy.
What to do?
We'll take a gamble. It doesn't matter, Zach. You pick. I think the only time I've struck out on this before was refrigerant related. So.
Well, we don't want you to strike out on refrigerant, so let's see if you strike out on gas. All right, here we go. Final question for the vacuum pump, and you get to keep all the stuff, so that would be very nice. Which of the following has the lowest specific gravity compared with air? A, propane, or as the French say, propane. D, natural gas, which is not what I thought, which is just people farting. It's an actual gas they get from the earth. C, air. D, butane. Which of the following has the lowest specific gravity compared with air?
So it wouldn't make much sense to pick air to compare with air.
Well, you know what? I thought about this when I was making this question, but if the specific gravity of all three of them are higher than air, then air would be the lowest.
Sure.
I'm not trying to mess you up there. I'm just saying.
Yeah, you're just throwing it out there.
I just made it worse now. So what do you think when you look at a question? What are you thinking?
Well, I'm kind of torn between natural gas and butane, but I don't know much about butane.
So what makes you say it's one of those two rather than air or propane?
Well, you're throwing air back in there, so now you're taking me down a twist there.
Well, it could be any of them.
Yeah.
I don't find out until... No, I'm just kidding. I know which one it is. I would totally win this game, but only because I looked it up for this question.
I know that propane burns more efficient than natural gas. You get more BTU consumption, but being more of a liquid propane, I would think it would have a higher gravity than natural gas.
I like this. This is logic and science right here. Okay.
Um,
So following your logic, propane's out.
Yeah, propane's out.
So I guess we have to ask ourselves, if we have air, which one of these is floating and which one of these is sinking? Isn't that the logical question to ask? Which one floats and which one sinks to the base of a room?
Yeah, that would make sense at that point.
Now, if you haven't tested this theory and gotten all these gases together to see what happens, it might be difficult to answer that unless you specifically read that in a book, like Gas Heating by Jason Obzut, where this question came from. Did Jason a solid right there, too. That's $10, Jason.
I'm still torn. I'm going to have to go with butane.
Is butane your final answer?
Yeah, I mean, sure. Yeah, let's run with it.
The affirmative is not strong. Well, let's see. All right. Is it butane? Nope. It is actually natural gas.
Get out of here.
Natural gas is the lowest specific gravity compared with air. Air being like 1.0 compared with itself.
Yeah.
Natural gas was lower, and propane and butane were both higher. Butane was the highest. It's actually 2.
Sometimes you got to trust your gut.
I do like the fact that you're dedicated to drama and you wanted to make the show exciting. And that you did. That was good. I like to listen to the logic going through it. But I only know the answer because I read it out of the book, which is this book, which is pretty good. So if anyone wants to learn more, then there it is.
Yeah.
HVAC Excellence. Let's go. But you didn't win this time, but you won a whole bunch of other times, so I don't feel too awful bad for you.
Thank you for the opportunity.
That's no problem. You know, let's have this miniature 2-minute interview. Let's do a 2-minute interview. Does that sound like a good idea? All right. So what is it that you've been up to in the last few days? Let's make it relevant and new. And I'll turn the chat on while we're doing this, so you're going to see the screen change, people that are watching.
Last few days, full transparency.
Uh-oh.
Thinking about getting another job.
Oh, really?
Birthday. Yeah, it's a lot of things going on.
Oh, get another job. Is this something you want to talk about on our miniature interview, or is it out of bounds?
I mean, we can. Hopefully important people don't watch the show. I don't think they do.
And no one important watches my show. All right, I'm just going to let you know that.
Important people on my end, I should say.
I'm just kidding. The higher-ups have gone to bed already.
Yeah.
So what's the deal? Why are you thinking about doing this?
It's just kind of one of those, and it's not anybody at fault, but just stress, getting older, being an operations manager for a smaller company. That is just a title, as far as how thin one can get stretched before breaking type deal.
Wow. We just had a very similar conversation, me and Justin Beaver, about his occupation, going through almost the exact same thing of wanting to go to that different level or different part of the job because, everybody's getting older. You don't want to be, having to replace kneecaps and stuff like that. It's understandable.
Yeah. I'm not as physical as I used to be in the trade, but you do make a sacrifice with the physical stress versus the mental stress as far as taking higher management positions. And I've never really considered myself a manager, but I guess other people have thought, well, so it's just one of those situations. Playing chess, not checkers right now, trying to think what's going to be the best move,
That's tough. That is really tough. I don't know. How long have you been a technician, like a field guy?
So I was a technician. I mean, I'm still, I guess, technically a technician. I do still run calls. So it's been 17, almost 18 years now.
Wow. So that's a big change. That's tough. Well, what about, you ever thought about like doing something on your own?
I have.
I like you laugh as soon as I said that. It's like, talk about stress free.
Yeah, exactly. I have, but the amount of stress, I guess once you start becoming from a technician to more of a manager and you get to see what's involved with running a business, paying for a business, costs, babysitting, everything that goes into it, I'm not interested in owning my own business.
It is definitely stressful. It is for sure, because you got to deal with people paying you. It's just a whole host of different issues.
Yep.
So do you have something lined up?
I do. I've got several offers on the table, but
well, that's nice. Okay.
I've considered myself a loyal guy, so the company that I'm with currently is hitting a big growth spell, and you can kind of see maybe something potentially on the horizon, but it's just one of those, is it going to get worse or going to get better type deals as far as more responsibility, more stress, versus making basically a lateral movement in salary, but instead of operations management, just being like a service manager for just one department.
Yeah.
I don't know. And then I've also thought about getting back into the field as more of I've got offers for, lead senior service tech, or even like a field technical service advisor for a distributor. So I don't know.
Well, that's two very different paths right there.
Yeah.
Huh.
Yeah.
That's tough. I think once a tech, always a tech in some ways, that you always have a longing to do it again. Yeah. Even when you make a conscious decision to move a different way, you always have that feeling of, because it's something satisfying about doing it.
Yeah,
it's fun, and
sometimes the body doesn't move like it used to, though. So
you got that right. Getting, I don't know how old you are, but getting, you hit 30 and it's like, okay, well, the peak's happened and I'm starting to go the other way, and then 40 comes, like, okay, well, I guess it's irreversible.
Right. Yes.
I'm sore for 5 days instead of 2.
Right.
After a certain, you go play sports one day and then you dead for a week or something.
Yeah.
So,
you're winded after changing a motor.
While sitting and changing a motor, it's like, why am I winded? It's because you're leaning over and your lungs are crunched or something. I don't know.
Yes.
The logic comes into it.
Yeah.
Oh man. Well, there's a no right answer situation right there. So,
yeah, it's just a matter of time. I think patience and hopefully a little bit of faith mixed in and some prayers will come out on top for me. So I'm not in a rush. It's just one of those, you get that seed planted in your head and then you can't get it out until it's right in front of your face.
Yeah, you're absolutely right, man. Well, I look forward to, next time you come on here, you probably win the grand prize. You'll have an update for us, and that'll be great.
Yeah. Thank you.
So, no problem. Well, not this time, but maybe next time, and a lot of previous times. So like I said, I don't feel bad for you.
You win some, you lose some, right?
That's right. Well, you win a lot and lose just a couple. Some good news about a decision that you've made.
Oh, yeah. Thank you, Zach.
All right. Take care, man.
All right.
Bye. Well, that was pretty cool. Oh, Adam. Tried to win the game. Didn't win the game, but it was a lot of fun. A lot of fun. So we're going to take a little break, and I'll have some parting words. Let's see, what are we going to do? I think we'll do EWC. We have a lot of great sponsors for this show. Yellow Jacket. Oh, wrong side. Yellow Jacket. Yellow Jacket, NAVAC, EWC, Refrigeration Technologies, RLS Press Fittings, and there's another one, and I just got fired probably because I can't remember. I should look at the bottom of the screen here. I have Yellow Jacket, Refrigeration Technologies, NAVAC, EWC, RLS, TrueTech. Shop Talk discount code saves you 8%. All right, there you go. Let's take a break. We'll be right back. The best forced air zoning controls in the HVAC industry come from EWC Controls. This includes the Workhorse BM Plus 3000 zone panel, 3 zones, multiple dip switches so you can customize the controls to your particular system install. Another workhorse of the system is the URD and ND dampers. These power open, power closed dampers are both reliable and long lasting. So for the entire life of your system, you won't be replacing your zoning components. And lastly, the innovative SBD2 static pressure bypass with the wireless NFC interface take this whole thing to a new level of precision and reliability, because you can set your system right there at your fingertips to the particular static pressure you need. No more guesswork, no more barometric arms. Go to EWC Controls Incorporated. You can find them online to learn more, and look for them in your local supply house. Our parting words for today come from the book of Matthew, and we're going to go to, let's see, what are we going to do? Because we talked on men with issues about love your enemies. Let's do love your enemies. And this is good about getting along with other people or just being successful in the world. There's a lot of good tips here, especially in Matthew. It's called Sermon on the Mount. It's the chapters 5 through 7, I think. Really good tidbits of information to help anybody, but also a great doorway into learning more about Jesus Christ and what he can do in your life. And, I think you'll like it. I know I do. It's like I came to terms with this. I said, I realized why I wanted to believe in Jesus. And my wife's like, why is that? And I was like, because I don't want to have a world where he's not there. So that's my mathematical analysis of that situation. So here's love your enemies, Matthew 5:43, starting at 43. You have heard that it was said, you shall love your neighbor and hate your enemy. But I say to you, love your enemies and pray for those who persecute you, so that you may be sons of your Father who is in heaven. For he makes his sun rise on the evil and on the good, and he sends rain on the just and on the unjust. For if you love those who love you, what reward do you have? Do not even the tax collectors do the same? And if you greet only your brothers, what more are you doing than others? Do not even the Gentiles do the same? You therefore must be perfect, as your heavenly Father is perfect. Life's not easy. Life's not fair. And it's not going to be measured by the people that tell you you're great, telling them you love them. You have to love the people that don't think you're great, and the people that call you names and despise you, and just the people that make life hard for you. Turn it on them again. Turn it back at them. Give them all the love you can give them. It's a good tip. I'm going to leave you guys with that. Had a good time tonight. I want to thank Homer for coming on the show. He did a great job. Had a great conversation, just a tech-to-tech conversation, very enjoyable. Skill trade-up. We didn't get a winner tonight, but we're going to try again next week. We'll maybe we can start bringing in 2 people. I like doing it where we get a winner, but people trying to go for that, maximum prize, man. Oh, Adam, he's so greedy. No, I'm just kidding. I'm joking. All right. I think I'm going to get out of here, guys. It's late. I'm going to go chill out for a little while with my family. Tomorrow we have a good church service, and we're all going down to the river with the church, which is only happens in the country with the Baptist church, going down the river afterwards. So it should be a lot of fun. Monday we're going to do Memorial Day, and we're going to have a barbecue, and it's going to be a lot of fun. Family's going to come over. It's going to be great. And I guess there's nothing else to say, guys. It's getting late here. Good night, chat, guys. Had a lot of fun. And I'll see you on the next one.